Well, go on,
Really?
everyone. Welcome to the Late Night Podcast, the podcast you never knew you needed. I'm your host, Pavan Bath, and tonight we'll be discussing a few things, including roasting in relationships and friendships. We're going to talk about the new COVID strategy implemented by our own Boris Johnson, fucking twat. And we're going to be also discussing Twitter. But before we get into any of that, we have the greatest co host on planet Earth, the guitar slayer, piano player, Daenerys betrayer. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Emily Burns.
That's a
Welcome
really
back.
good
What are you saying,
intro,
Em?
and it's so true. Daenerys is an
Listen,
idiot.
we will get into that another time, yeah. But look, we're back on this thing. Me and Em doing this once again. How you been?
All right.
Love to see it. That's it. Simple as. I'm all right as well. We don't need to get
Yeah.
into that. But yeah.
Getting on.
Yeah, I have to say this, and I didn't never thought I'd be one of these guys, but please, if you are watching this, like the video. And at the very least, yeah, if you don't like the video, at least dislike it, one or the other. And if you don't, just don't do anything. You're free to do it as you please. I don't care about the sharing of thing. Yeah, like if you don't share, don't comment. I don't really care about that. But please, if you like it, just at least like it. If you don't like it, at least dislike it. Very least, I'm asking. Whenever we take a like long break out as well, we always do this thing where I apologize at the start of this, but fuck the apology thing. Yeah, do you know why? Because you can't be mad at me. You gotta be mad at Boris, fam. Listen, you can't be vexed at me. It's not. Listen, this isn't my fault. Me and Emma on this. Yeah, we've been speaking about this. It's Boris. He's fucked up the whole base. So we are gonna try and get these out more often. We're doing Zoom. Obviously, the quality is not as good as the podcast on SoundCloud. So please bear with us in that sense. But we're here. We're back and we're live and kicking in it. So another thing, if you do have Instagram, I don't have any other socials for the platform at the moment. Go follow the Late Night Podcast on Instagram. And if you like the jumpers, holler at a man. £40. They're sick. But yeah, YouTube boys, we're finally here. Zoom, not the most fantastic quality, but you know, fuck it. We're just
So
gonna do this
bad.
thing. It is what it is. And if you have any suggestions on topics, please get in touch. Let me know, and we'll see if we can implement them. So yeah, we'll fucking get straight into it. So first topic, we've got roasting in relationships/friendships. Now, why we're speaking about this is because me and Em did a big boy catch up the other day. Literally on the phone for like 4 hours or something stupid, and I remember her saying, "Biggest compliment, defo gassed me up." And I told all the mandem this as well, and it got to their heads bare. I was like, so Em basically said in her opinion, she thinks like we're a really genuine friendship group, and like I think everyone has their own group in it. Whether that's like you have your acquaintances, you have your close inner circle, like everyone's got their own like breakdown of their own pyramid almost of like at the peak, you have close people, and then as you go down the down, you go to like, close people through friends or whatever, then acquaintances, etc., all of that. But yeah, we just want to talk about like maybe elements of why she believes that. So the reason we're doing this is because one of the reasons we are such a healthy friendship group is because we are the biggest bastards on the planet. Yeah, I think if you've got brethren, yeah, you defo cuss them and they cuss you, and it's a mutual thing. It's a love hate. It's just like that in it, but we do it to an extent where it's just mad. It's just violation on top of violation. There's nothing. It's mad. It's actually madness. But yeah, what would you say for you, Em? Like, what like is that something you guys do like in your own friendship group? Would you say like you're on just cussing your friends, like, or do you have limits, or like how far is too far, or whatever?
I mean, yeah. But first of all, the reason why I said your friendship group is really healthy, not because you violate each other, there are other
Yeah,
reasons.
that's one of them, though.
And also, yeah, I think it's a part of it. It's just, I don't know, it's just funny.
Yeah,
It's just one of those things that when you know somebody's genuine with you, and you know when it's your kind of real buds, it's just a joke. But there
yeah,
are boundaries there that,
yeah.
that
So
like, if you get a bit
this is
too,
the thing.
you
Go
know,
on, go on.
no, I was gonna say like that, you do need boundaries. Like there are some people that just anything's like nothing's untouchable, and I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my god, I'd be devastated every day.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, I think some boundaries is necessary. Like with you guys, you have again one of the reasons why I said that you guys, I think, are a really not very toxic friendship group is that you do have clear boundaries,
yeah,
you know where you stand, you can just kind of rip each other and it's just a joke. And
yeah. No,
there's no
absolutely.
like
I think
toxicity behind it sort of thing.
exactly. There's like it's the intent. I think so. Like when we, so one of the reasons we get on so much is because we constantly check each other. So like we're not shy to say like, yeah, you fucked up here, or like you're in the wrong and stuff, because we have to be real. If your own friends can't be the realist with you, then it doesn't make sense. You get me? So when we cross each other when we're in the wrong and stuff, we have to do that. And even when we're like we hail up all our successes. Whenever we do something great, we definitely hail it up and we're like, yo, sick in it. We'll cuss each other after that because it's just natural. That's just our thing in it. But we have boundaries. So like we don't do mom jokes. That's something we strictly don't do. We made a pact years and years and years ago. That's just something we don't do. And we like we stick by that. And I think it sounds silly, but I think friendship groups should have that. There should be certain like lines you shouldn't cross in it. Um, so yeah, that brings me into my next point. I think one of the reasons like it works so well with us is because we all understand each other. You get me? So we all understand each other's feelings in certain areas and reactions as well. So like I'd say Aaron. So he's on the third podcast. If the people listening don't know who he is, yeah. So like he is honestly the shit we give him. Yeah, he gets it the most in the group. Facts, and yo, he handles it like a champion. Like, but then I would say like if it was on the if I was on the receiving end of most of it, then maybe my reaction wouldn't be the same. So like we all have that mutual respect for each other in terms of like what we do say to each other and what we don't say, and we understand like there's that balance. So I think that's one of the reasons like it works so well, because I think we all understand each other's boundaries in it. And I think in certain friendship groups, I'd say there isn't that respect. Like, everyone's trying to one up each other. I don't think we have that about us. We're not trying to show up. You get me? Like we all
Yeah.
know who we are. We don't try and gas it like with someone different. Like if anything, these men know me like the best out of a lot of people that I know in it, and that's the ultimate respect, because I can just be as completely, put it this way, sometimes I dread telling them stuff because I know they will check me. Like they are going to tell me, "Have you're a dickhead," and then I know it, and I have to hear it, and it's facts. And I hear it. Like I would do the same to them. Whenever they do something wrong, like we have to do that, and it is healthy. It is, because it's progressive. It's like if we didn't do these things, then we'd be openly accepting that they're just doing a madness. You know what I mean? And we can't do that, because if like it's like, say your sibling does something wrong and you hail them up, and then they think it's acceptable to keep doing those things. You don't want that kind of venom in your group. You get me? Like you don't want your people around you to be bad people. So I think that's one of the reasons it works so well. But obviously, I don't know. I think the dynamic for like a lot of friendship groups is a lot different in comparison to ours. Like when I went to uni, I don't know if this was the same for you, but a lot of people that I spoke to said they don't even chat to people from their school. I thought that was crazy. I thought that was mental.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people, loads of people. Well, I mean, it depends just who you fall with. Like, you know, when
Yeah.
people say like, oh, your friends from uni, your friends for life. Like, it wasn't the case for me. I've met loads
Yeah.
of really, really nice people, and you know, the people that I did meet are super nice, but they weren't like my best friends. Or I didn't
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
stick with them. More so you guys, and just people that I spent my teenage years with, really.
Yeah.
So I think it's just who you. I don't think it's who you meet at which point in your life. I think it's just
Yeah.
like if you land a really, really, really good group, even in, I don't know, year 8 in school, you know, if you stick with it. I think what it is that like a lot of people, particularly when they're younger, and maybe I've done this in the past, I might have, but they don't like it when your friends change, and you might
Yeah.
kind of, if your friend's changing, you might feel a bit like, well, why are they doing this? I don't like it, and you kind of drift apart. Whereas I think you got to understand they're just going off on a path, and
Yeah.
if you drift, but it shouldn't mean that there should be like, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You're just going off
Yeah.
on different.
Nah, and this is the thing. Like, I think, like what you said about like growing as a group and stuff. Just another reason for why we're talking about this is that's so important. Like, checking each other isn't always a bad thing because obviously it helps growth in it. Like, where I've done certain things wrong, like, and I've been, you know, my friends have said stuff to me. It does make me think about things differently, and it educates me. Like, I don't think there's any harm in that. If you were to take everything people say so personally to a point where you're like, oh fuck this, like I don't have to listen to them and stuff, it's because you're recognizing it in it. Surely you're just not happy that what you're hearing is the truth in it. And
Yeah,
I'm not that guy. Like,
yeah.
it hurts. It hurts hearing the truth sometimes, but you have to face them realities in it. So, yeah, like I think that's really important for like the growth of like the groups that you're in, and like if they are people you're super tight with, it should never be an issue. And I don't think, you know, I don't think we've had our issues in the past, but one of the things we're always able to like overcome them just because like we speak often about stuff in it. It's like if we've got issues, we don't hold back from saying stuff. You get me? Like,
No, yeah,
and
I think
we
that's
don't make a
another
show of
reason.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not dramatic about it. We're like, if we have to talk separately, we'll talk separately. Like,
Mm.
okay, I'm gonna keep bringing up Aaron because he's been on the podcast, but people around me will know. Me and Aaron have been friends for years, and we've had constant up and downs, absolutely. But one of the key things is we we used to have this thing, yeah, where every here and there, it'd just be us two on Xbox or something. We'll be chatting, and we'll be like, "Yo, let's do it." Let's say anything, anything you want, yeah, no holds barred, lawless things, yeah. Say whatever, yeah. We're gonna say it, and then we're gonna. I mean, we're on mic at this time, but we're gonna shake hands after that, and it's nothing like we're gonna strop it, or if it is a B thing, or if it's just we want to ask. It was just it was just a space where we'd enter, and it'd just be just after that. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. We had that bare times, and you know that was sick because I think like you know like you might have your own separate opinions about friends and stuff, yeah, and you might think, oh, why did you do that, or why did you do that, and you might never you might not say something because you don't want to cause any issues. You know, sometimes it might be the time or place. You know, you don't want to bring something up because you're out or like you just don't want to bring it up at a certain time in it. But this became a safe space. So I think what that did for me and him is anything we thought we should step on eggshells around this topic, we've said, nah, fuck that. You get me? We just go for it. There's only one time that didn't work too great, but besides that, it was blessed. And to be fair, we always get over things. So like that probably ties into my next thing. Yeah, we've never held grudges, so we're always able to be positive about like anything we've gone through as friends in it, and even as a group. Like we recognize these things. You get me? So like we'll we'll go through things. You know, we'll speak about whatever the thing is, and then you know if we need to set necessary boundaries from there. Like I'm saying it as if it's like we sit down like it's a fucking court of law. We all sit in a circle, hold hands, and say, "Don't do this." It's not like that. It's just simple recognition. We just have a little conversation. That's it, and it just gets squashed. I think we'll get onto the topic later, but stuff on socials will have you believe that, you know, if someone says something that you don't like just cut them off. And I just think it's so negative towards like growing as a person. I think it's detrimental to yourself in it. So like, if I didn't have my friendship group around me now, and obviously there's a lot of other people surrounding me that have been here, and like if they didn't educate me and stuff at certain ages, you know, I'd be the most reckless guy in the world. I'd honestly be the maddest guy ever, because I just wouldn't give a fuck. Yeah, and
no,
and you need that though.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I think it's one of those things that where like when I was younger, even when I was like still a teenager, like late into my teen years, if somebody tried to, particularly a friend, if they tried to say something that they're a little bit worried about, and they were like, bit of a delicate one, but I'm concerned about this.
Yeah.
I'd just not take it a good way at all. Like I'd be like, what do you know? Sit down. Don't judge me. Who are you to put me on trial, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if a friend was coming to me quite sensitively and said, you know, what's happening here? I'm a bit concerned. I'd be really like, shit, like, I don't know. Like, maybe I need to kind of. So I think a lot of that is when you're a bit younger, you just, that kind of thing. I don't know. When you're a bit younger, it's like you just kind of can't take criticism as well as that when you grow up and when you've got a bit more maturity behind you. Say if you said to me, I'm a bit concerned with the way you're acting at this particular thing. Honestly, the reaction that I'd give you when I was 17 and like now, two completely different people.
Yeah.
Completely. So I think you've got to have a level. You got to have a level of maturity when friends kind of say to you, if they're a bit concerned about something or if they're bringing something up. You know, there's been times back before where friends have said something out of the goodness of their heart, and I've just been like, don't worry about it, it's fine, even though they're probably right to bring it up. So you gotta be mature in yourself and confident in yourself to think, right, when my friends come up to me and said this, there's probably a reason why they've said it. What's making them feel like this? You know, and sort it out properly, sort of thing. That's why I said I think you guys have got a really kind of good dynamic, because I feel like if that's, you know, if something was said, it's just, I don't know, it's just not met with like a lot of with other people.
It is to do with the intent behind like the stuff we say. Like we never say stuff to intentionally just murk each other in it. It's said like a lot of the things we say, like we cuss each other because we know that's kind of our bants in it. So like we'll have our moments where, you know, we'll do well, we'll say something positive, and then straight after we'll just cuss in it, or like but we do this because it's kind of, it's so silly, but it's recognition of, it's like a respect thing. Like we recognize where we are as people, as individual people. But you know, we say these things because we all know it. Like we all know. So like we're just openly, like I haven't had a job for time in it for a little bit, and now like all the time I get rinsed in it, but I just hold it because I know why they're saying it. It is because I'm a jobs worker and I'm unemployed. But like they say it with, obviously there's not intent to like murk me in that sense, but it's said because we just recognize things in it, and we're just all blessed with our own situation, so it doesn't really hurt us. And I think that's the biggest thing about it. I think in certain friendship groups, if you don't know yourself well enough and you're seeing other people around you develop at a pace that you're not matching, I think sometimes that can become, I don't want to say intimidating. Maybe it adds like a pressure, like for you to do something you're not. And I think maybe that's why some friendship groups don't last, because someone might be up here, someone might be down here, and like there's a couple of people in between that are blessed, but they kind of have to pick sides. And there's always those complexities. But with us, we're not all equal, but it's like an even playing field where we're just we all know our place. It's as simple as that. We all know who we are, what we can say, what we can't say, and we don't cross those lines. And we don't hate on each other. Like, we cuss each other. Like, there's a difference between cussing and hating. And I think, like, if we were to do like a survey of like friendship groups our age, yeah, like, and we'll give it a range, yeah, so like between 20 and 30. Like, I don't think they'd have the qualities that like we have in our group. Like, I don't think it would measure up to like what we have. And I think that's why when we was talking about this, it gassed me up, because I was thinking, do you know what? Maybe we don't give ourselves credit enough, but we've been best friends for years now, like nearly a decade. Like, people have been friends for longer, but we're super tight, man. We're a super tight knit group. And yeah, man, I think as I had to wrap this up, I'd say, I think the few keys to take away, if you're in a friendship group and you think there's issues or whatever, I'd say, look, just don't, when your friends are saying certain things, like, look, don't take everything to heart. Like, your friends don't know your situation, just like you don't know theirs. So you have to have a certain level of respect when you say stuff to them, just as when they say to you. You got to understand where they're coming from, but you always have to make your own decisions. So there's that. And yeah, man, just always be progressive with things, because look, unless someone's a complete pagan, they're cussing you out, and like it's completely different, like it's going too far, hurting your feelings, all of that stuff. Yeah, if it's not in your makeup, they shouldn't be your friends. It's as simple as that, innit? But if it's like a group that you get on with, and you want to be progressive, just talk about things. I've taken, there's 4 of us in our group, and obviously we've got a closer group around that as well. But like in the immediate group, I'd say we have like if I have an issue with one of them, we'll just take them apart, speak to them separately. It's never a big fucking dramatic deal. We all know the sketch in it, and then we'll talk, and then see what go on, and then take it from there. And we always end up blessed on the other side. It always ends up like that. So definitely talk about things, and just set boundaries. Like, if that's what you as friends need. And I always see this said on Twitter, like, if you can't say certain things to your friends, they're not your friends. I don't think that's true at all. I think it's just respect. Like, if you think you're so high and mighty, you can say whatever you want to anyone, that's not how the world works. Like, even if you think you know best, it doesn't matter if you think you know best. Like, you still can't just say whatever you want. So yeah, just have respect, always be progressive, don't hold grudges, set boundaries if necessary. Like, those are the keys, in my opinion. Whenever I get these fuckers on and they're on the thing, the contrasting things they'll say compared to what I've just said now, it'll be crazy. And you'll think,
oh no, they'll be like, we actually hate Pav so much. We've been trying to
they're gonna
slowly phase him out, but he's just not. He's so persistent. He just won't go, and it's
I've been clinging on to this friendship group for years. That's all it is. Nah,
same.
But yeah, I think yeah, we're all good guys. I think that's probably the spine of it all. We're just good people in it, and we're just blessed. And I think we all just match each other's energy. But yeah, a topic that I'm absolutely so drained speaking about, so bored hearing about. I am honestly, I just can't stand it anymore. Can't stand watching the news and seeing new experts fucking chat shit. I can't be asked for Matt Hancock being a patronising prick all the time. I can't be asked for Preeti Patel's dumb fucking comments. I can't stand it. Like, I've had it up to you. And if you're listening on SoundCloud, it's really high up. That's how my hand is really high up. Yeah, I'm sick of it. But we're going to talk about it because it's just been announced. And I think these things always seem to change anyway. But yeah, it's the new COVID strategy implemented by Boris Johnson. Well, we say implemented, going to be implemented, maybe not. It's a plan. So why we're speaking about this, it's obviously recent news, and it's whether we believe it or not. Now, I posted a thing on my Insta, so like if the people that follow me would have seen it, do you think we're going to go into a fourth lockdown? And I put that up, yeah. So it's a yes or like, yeah, Boris is fucking lost. We're going into fourth lockdown, or no, Boris has a plan. Now, there was a few people that answered like, nah, Boris has a plan in it. I don't mind that. I don't mind if people think he's got a plan, but look, he's had 3 plans. Yeah. 3 plans in 12 months. Yeah. Now look, if you know what now, because I can't even use, I was going to use such a stupid analogy then. Look, he's had 3 plans, yeah, and every time like he said it as if it's concrete, and he said it as if it's, you know, the way to go. And one of the arguments I had with Aaron the other day, well, not arguments, like discussions, is like, it's not his fault for what I'm about to say, yeah. He can't control certain things. However, he has to understand where we're at, yeah. So one of the things is he may have a plan, but we've been in lockdown for a bit now. Giving people a small taste of freedom right now, yeah, especially like after the Christmas period and whatever. Like, I don't know if that's going to have the best effect on like decreasing the rates in it, because let's think about it. March, it's going to start getting warmer soon, and how much longer do you reckon people are really going to start? You know, how much longer do you really think people are going to respect the rules? You know what I mean? Because once it gets hot, that's it.
Yeah.
He's got no control, and this is, it sounds like, you know, that might not be his problem, but it is at the same time, because he has to have things in place to make sure that we're going towards the right path in it. We're going on the right direction. But then if he starts opening stuff up, I just don't see how it's going to help decrease the numbers and decrease the deaths as well per day, because it's still like a high amount. I don't think speaking about it slyly feels like a disrespect to the people that are dying, and that the people that have got COVID, and like the cases, the number where it's at right now, like planning on, you know, you're getting people's hopes up when, you know, first month into your fucking plan, and it gets a little bit warm and people start going out more, like completely flaunting the rules, and then that's it, the spike happens and we're in a fourth lockdown. That's how quick it can happen. And I don't want to be that guy, because I don't want to go into a fourth lockdown, but it could happen. It could happen.
No, I know. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think it was the kind of, I agree with you in the sense that that, you know, summer was one of those things that, you know, it was a really, really nice summer. The weather was obviously great, so just kind of, it makes sense that the rules were kind of flaunted potentially a bit, because people were, you know, because as soon as they kind of lifted the foot off the brake, it was kind of like, fine, sort of
Fuck
thing.
it. Let's go. Let's be free.
So, you know, I get what you're saying. I don't, oh, touch wood, if we do go into a fourth lockdown, people are going to be like, it's my fault. I don't think we'll go into a fourth lockdown, not to the level that we're in now, just because, I said this to you earlier, vaccination programs are going really, really well. So obviously the Conservative Party are going to use that as a massive, like, look what we've done. We've vaccinated all these people, and we've done it really, really quickly. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is, I forgot what I was going to say. There was a reason number two for the vaccines, and Conservatives have always kind of and I've said this before, Conservatives have always historically prioritised economy over welfare.
Yeah.
Don't have a go at me, but it's just kind of obvious at this point.
I mean, if that isn't apparent,
people can argue, but that's what I think. So I think they're gonna want to get the economy pumping as quickly as humanly possible, over absolutely everything, because that's what they care about. That's their priority, and that's how they win votes as well. So fair enough. So I think a fourth lockdown will be their absolute last resort, like total last resort. But I mean, could it happen? Yeah. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. But you know what? At this point, who knows? I mean, like I say, he's got pressure from so many different people to bring kids back in school. Like I say, I think the 8th is a really nice, like, rainbowy target, but I think that's a bit. I don't know.
It surely has to be too soon.
We're still on 10k deaths a day.
Yeah.
And we're on the 25th of February now. So that's scary, but he's got so much pressure from, different people to bring schools back. So again, I can see why he's done it. That they're trying to appease as many different kind of things as they can, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah, I think what you said. I think you meant 10k cases. Yeah, you said 10k deaths.
Oh, no.
I mean, it is still extreme.
News.
I think there's still a few hundred to. I don't know. I can't quote the exact number, but there's still.
I don't know.
There is still a few, like, I'm saying a few, yeah, and I don't want to fucking sound like a guy that doesn't care. I do. It's just I don't keep up with the daily death count in it. Like, it's fucked. But look, the cases being at that per day is fucked in it. And look, if you're putting kids into school, kids that really can't comprehend like the full repercussions of their actions and aren't the most hygienic, like, being honest, you really think kids going into a primary school and kids going into a secondary school are the most hygienic, are going to, really appreciate social distancing? And it's fucked for them anyway, because it's not real school in it. They're not going to be doing, and like, they're not going to be able to do the things they normally do, and it's peak. But the way I think it has the domino effect is they're going to start going to school. They're going to start going to school. There's no talk on vaccinating teachers or anything yet, is there?
No, I really don't think so.
So that doesn't make sense already. Then you're gonna send kids into school, classroom of 20 to 30 kids, and then if they go yard and they're carrying it, and then their parents get it, you wrote off one whole family. They can't go to work. I don't know if COVID pay is still in place or whatever it is, but it's just going to have an everlasting effect, and it's not just going to affect one or two people. If you're sending you're sending thousands of kids to thousands. We're sending millions of kids to school. Yeah. What do you expect to happen? Honestly, I don't know where I was going with that number. Look, if you're sending these volumes of kids to school and you're expecting things to progress, it's just as fucking patronized as them doing eat out to help out and stuff like that, and expecting things to go well. You know what I mean? Like, you've said this before, like, fuck, I forgot the analogy. But you're going to give some people a small taste of things, and they're going to want more. They're going to want, people want instant results. They're not going to get that. And if you you can...
Is it you take an inch? No, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Said it. There it is. And that's exactly what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. You're going to open pubs and say, 6 man can go in. You're going to try and do the social distance bullshit, and you're going to say, eat out to help out. Those are some talks that are happening right now. You're going to say all of that. And then when the spike happens, and in 2 months' time, you're saying, we're going to have to go into lockdown. I hope it doesn't happen. More than likely, it fucking will. And then what, like, it's just a repeat. Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. This is what it kind of seems like. Honestly, it may seem like a fucking concrete plan to him and his fucking dickhead peers, but it doesn't matter whether they think it is, because at ground level, people, will they abide by the rules? And even now, knowing like all the stuff we do now and seeing, the real toll it's taken on the country, are people really, like, people are selfish, man? Do you think people will care? Like, I don't want to incriminate myself, so I'm not going to speak too much about my personal actions. But do you really think people don't care, man? People really don't care. You can speak to Bear, man, yeah, and I'll. If there was fucking truth serum, yeah, and you licked every fucking person in the country with this, I would love to see the percentage. It's pure speculation, but like, I'd love to see the percentage of people that have just fucking flaunted the rules, and it's just because if people have no trust in the government and where they're leading us, then they're definitely gonna fucking fuck the rules off. They're not gonna care about what these men are saying because there's no trust. There's no trust in what they're trying to achieve. So yeah, that's personally just a handful of reasons that I don't think it will work yet. So I always do this, and you always pull me up on it. Yeah. So what would we change? Let's be progressive. Let's not just hound them for their dickhead ideas and their fucking ridiculous plans. But like, what could they do? What can they change?
Well, I mean, I think if I were like working for the BBC and I was like writing about COVID, the plans look really, really similar than when we were trying to ease lockdown before. So, in fact, they're a lot stricter, I believe.
Yeah, a lot stricter.
Don't quote me, but they seem a lot stricter. For example, I mean, there's no talk of mixing households, not till 8th of March, and I don't think until, again, don't quote me. So, one, they are stricter, and two, like they have we do have vaccinations going out, and they are around about hitting the over 60 mark now, depending on where you live. So if you think about all those people upwards, they're good. Touch wood.
Yeah.
Like, they're all right. So, I mean, to them, I feel like they're thinking, right, this one last laugh, and then hopefully this will all be done. Like one last surge of like COVID, and then by the end of this lockdown, way more people will be vaccinated. So, like, that's just the optimist in me talking, and I think that's what the government have got in their head. For me, I mean, it's super hard. Like, as much as I think school is super important, don't get me wrong. Like, I think school is so important for just all around growth and development. It's just a bit scary, you know, having all the kids back. Again, I don't know the data. I'm not a scientist. I don't know the proof, but it's just a bit kind of, you know, just a bit of a worrying time. If I were a mom and my kid were going back, I'd be a bit like, right, be careful. I'd be spraying Dettol on him or
disinfectant every fucking day.
And I'd be like,
every time I walk back into the yard. Nah, it's that deep.
So, you know what I mean? But I mean, I agree with you in the sense that, you know, people have flaunted it, and people will kind of take that new sense of freedom and go a bit ape with it. So I think just keeping it locked down, literally.
Keeping it locked down. It's as simple as that.
Because also, one last thing. I wouldn't, if I were the government, I'd be really concerned with the welfare of people rather than how much money. I mean, at this point, it's just like
how much P we've probably already lost, and the hole we've probably created. It's there. Like, it getting deeper isn't going to help us. But if this is why I think, like, if we had Corbyn in place right now, like that little bit more compassion towards lives being like taken and stuff, that would pay off massively now, because you'd probably be looking at a guy that wouldn't want to risk one life to get the economy back on track. You get me? And I know it might put us in a hole, but once we hit that 0 cases a day for consecutive days, and then, you know, because of the practice in place, we can only have select groups in, and you take the necessary precautions from there, then it's like a clean slate, and we begin the rebuild. You get me? Like, we begin rebuilding the economy and trying to get people back into work and etc. Because COVID's fucked a lot of things up. Like, for me personally as well, like, it it has affected a lot of people. So I think it's the harder thing to do to keep us in lockdown for a bit longer, be a bit stricter on the rules. It's the harder thing to do because you're expecting people to just fucking keep up with this in it, and it is hard.
Yeah.
But yo, it's all for a brighter future. We can't expect instant results. We can't expect by 2-3 months time we're saying, oh yeah, everything's back to normal. Don't wear a mask. Don't do whatever the fuck you want. We're so far away from that. It's a myth. So we're looking at like, it's not gone in the whole world as well. So that's just another thing as well. So like we can say we're on the path to try and get out of this thing, but then it's still a global problem. So like the borders being open and stuff, like I know they've gone a bit stricter now, but that should have been done from the start. Allowing people to go in and out of the country as they pleased was baffling. It was so baffling to me because I just thought, yo, like there's actually, they shouldn't be thinking this, yeah, but there's no rules. Them man up there thinking there's no rules, like fuck it. There was no fucking anything. There was nothing in place to say when you got back from your holiday or whatever, now there is, but like you had to just quarantine for 14 days and people were trusting that people were just going to go yard and quarantine for 14 days. Fam, are you mad? If they're going out of the country, coming back and thinking fucking we can do whatever we want, do you think they're going to quarantine for 2 weeks? Like you gone mad? Like I don't know, man. I think we need to be a bit stricter for a bit longer, and then when we start easing things, then it.
To be fair,
again, this is.
To be fair, I was in Amsterdam when the first lockdown happened.
You can't predict that though. You can't predict that.
And I was so, I know it sounds horrible. I was so happy that I could just get on a plane and come home. Like,
yeah,
I was worried I'd be stuck there. I was like,
yeah,
oh my God. I mean, most of the people
imagine.
on the flight were like British and going home anyway. Like,
yeah.
we saw these girls that only came like the day before. We just saw them about, and they had to pretty much just get on the next plane because everything in Amsterdam shut, literally everything. And that was our last day that happened. So we were really lucky. But some people got there like the day before lockdown was announced, and they were just like, we might as well just go home. So, I mean, like I say, it was nice to know that it wasn't like this horrible mission to get back home, because, in that sense, I get it. But like, like influencers.
Yeah.
How have they been going? Like, like I'm just seeing them in Dubai, and I'm like,
they've just been cutting and coming back like it's nothing. Dubai trips like it's nothing. Crazy. Yeah, it's funny that they got blamed for a lot of this. Like, they got a lot of fucking stick in it, but there's so many people at fault for this, and it all stems from the top. IMO, like it all stems from the top, man. I don't think the only people we should really be blaming is Boris and everyone that's around him. I don't think, and this is why, like, this is why I put the question out there on my Insta, because if this happens again, he has to step down. I'm sorry, yeah. I'm sorry.
You think he should resign?
Listen,
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing.
No, I know. But if you take your driving test 4 times and you crash the car 4 times, you crash it right off, and you crash it just as soon as you stepped out the fucking test center, if you've done that 4 times, maybe you shouldn't drive. Maybe you just shouldn't be driving. Maybe you should just take the bus, take a train, walk, get on a bike, just do any other sort of transport. But maybe driving ain't for you, innit? Listen, maybe leading the country isn't for us, like it weren't for Theresa May. Yeah, she fucking flopped Brexit a couple times, and she stepped down, and that's what it was, innit? So if he's failed it if he's put us into lockdown 3 consecutive times over in 12 months, in less than 12 months actually, and we go into a 4th, he's not the right man to lead us. And if he doesn't step down, he's just selfish. And the whole Conservative Party is just a power thing. Like they're just not gonna. Keir Starmer's a fraud anyway, because I don't want to get into fucking like politics on that side of things. Yeah, but look, he has to step down. He has to step down. That's my thing. If you crash your car 3 times, you shouldn't be driving. If you flop on the country 3 times over and you're trying to fucking have people have that vote of confidence in you that you're going to lead us out of this, stop selling a dream, fam. We're not in a dream world. This is reality. People are dying. People are having, there's 1,000 cases and people are still working in the NHS, fam. So every time you're fucking trying to say, save lives, etc., you are throwing dirt on them man's names because you're going to create a bigger problem for them. So those are my opinions. Those are fucking, we kind of said what we think will make it better, but we don't know anything because we are just random people on the internet. So, you know, how much you really respect what we say, it's irrelevant anyway. Boris is going to do what the fuck he wants.
Pub for PM.
Pub for PM. Pub for PM. How about that? How about
can I be a political advisor? God, I'd love that. I'd be on it.
That would be like I'm Robert Baratheon and you're Tywin Lannister. That's what that would be. You would be running everything.
I'd be trying to just be that little. I'd be Grima Wormtongue trying to like get in your ear from Lord of the Rings and be like, "Come, my lord," and try and like fucking.
I'll be listening.
Not welcome.
Get it, man. I'd honestly, we'd do sick. We'd do sick as a team. The podcast is sick. That's enough evidence. If you go listen to the other episodes we've done, it's evidence enough. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's what we think about the COVID strategy. Obviously, if you think you know more than me, and probably don't, on SoundCloud, on Insta, wherever you want to fucking put it. But yeah, just let us know what you think will be better, if you think we're going to go into a 4th lockdown. And if you agree with me, please let me know. Ego booster, of course. But yeah, moving on to the final topic today. We're going to talk about the Twitter playground, yeah? Big Twitter, massive streaming platform, massive social media platform. Now look, I like Twitter.
I love Twitter. It's my favourite platform. It's my favourite platform.
It's fucking hilarious, yeah? And one of the things I have to say now is I fully accept, yeah, the place is lawless, yeah. And someone, there needs to be some order in the court. Like there actually has to be. Look, I swear down, because you know what? I clocked this. I clocked this recently, yeah. This is why I want to speak about it. It's because I feel like everything's a clickbait. Every tweet put out by high profile individuals, it's like a fishing line with just the maddest bait attached to it. And you're just gonna get every fucking person and their dog biting at that, yeah. And then that just creates anger and outrage. You know what I mean? Like I used to go into Twitter and just get angry for no reason. Like that's not what that's for. You get me? Like I'm not trying to go on Twitter to just get annoyed at stuff, but that's what generally would happen. Like I'm looking at stuff and I'm getting triggered, and a lot of it is to do with politics sometimes. I'd say, 90% of the time it's to do with politics, fucking racial problems around the world. Like it's always to do with stuff like that. And it's just fucked in it. And I used to find myself, and Twitter fucking fucked this up when they added another 140 characters. Yeah. I used to write maddest replies, yeah, like this, and this. But you haven't. I shut up, man. And I'm a Vex guy, yeah. So when you see me on Twitter and you piss me off, like I don't really go on mad rampages at man. But I used to get bare triggered and want to send for all these people in it, and then I'd look at it and I'd think, why am I even doing this? If Twitter could record what you've wrote and then deleted, if they had that data somewhere, if you went through, you'd see hundreds of tweets from me, either cussing man, disagreeing with these fucking political agendas, the racial injustices that we see today, and just bullshit. Like, look, I'm all for free speech, yeah, but there has to be some sort of fucking order in terms of like the things you can say. So like, so there's two reasons that I wanted to bring this up. So it's about going on there and just getting irritated by stuff. Obviously, that's all very dependent on who you follow. Now, obviously, if you're following nothing but fucking positive affirmations, you're probably a blessed guy. You're probably just getting nothing but positive vibes. Yeah, and fair play to you. Yeah, that's your thing. But more time, someone that you follow is going to retweet some bullshit, get annoyed, and then you have your own 2 cents on that. The second reason is because there's a spike in racial abuse towards footballers recently. Now look, that's fucked, yeah. That's fucked. And for once, the Prem has come together and said, like, look, and like, I don't know if other leagues have, but they're saying, like, look, there needs to be some level of restriction. Whether you agree with this or not, like, should you show ID before you sign up to these platforms? And like, look, I used to be the guy to disagree with that because I think, yo, it's just it's a platform. You can create an account, you can say whatever. But maybe there does need to be some fucking order. Like, you're looking at people that go and when, let's say, Liverpool lose and we've got black players in our team, they'll start cussing our black players for what reason? I mean, I don't know how many times it's happened with Liverpool players strictly, but it's happening a lot recently, like Chelsea, United players. I can't think of any others, but because they're not as high profile, maybe. But there's just the racial abuse. It's through the roof. And then Twitter have responded saying like, we're not going to restrict tweets, and I just thought that's incredible. Like, the platform that has the most control, like, you've got the most control whether things can be said or not, whether you let people sign up. But I don't know if it's just a money thing for them or whatever, but it's fucked in it. So like, those are the two reasons that I wanted to talk about this, because yeah, man, it's just fucked. Like, it's actually crazy.
That's you surprised. I mean, I didn't know that. I would have thought that they would have banned or restricted some kind of accounts or tweets. I mean, it's one of those things. Maybe it's like, I mean, it's obviously black and white what these people are saying is racist and vile. Like, they banned the president from Twitter, so you would have thought that they would ban some kids, you know, using racial slurs about footballer. I think I agree with you 100%. There needs to be some kind of level of restriction, because I as well used to be one of those people where I was just like, well, you can't restrict it and then you'll have to restrict loads of things, so let's just not do it at all. I don't think that's good enough reason, especially when race is called into it. It's just horrendous. I mean, like, I knew footballers got a lot of stick for that kind of thing. I've never seen it kind of obviously because I don't follow football, but I knew it was always like horrendously nasty. But I think social media has just always been one of those things where, like, a part of it is, and I'm not like condoning people saying horrible things, but I think it is who you follow and it's what you engage with. So for me, my Twitter is I hate using this word, but it is a safe space. There isn't much really on there apart from jokes and memes. Like, there's not really much, because when I go on it, I just want to have a laugh. Like, I don't really follow it for any other reason. Obviously, like, keeping in check with really kind of important topics, I try and keep up to date and I try and educate myself. But for the most part, I just want to look at memes. And that was kind of different for me in Instagram, because I got rid of Instagram for years, and it was because I'd always trigger myself looking at really, really kind of good looking or like thinner girls, and that was me kind of choosing to look at that content But if you said to me a couple like years ago, if you said to me, "Oh, just stop looking at the content," I'd be like, "No,"
Yeah.
like no, I'm not. You know, so it's one of those things where like it's just tricky. I mean, now like that makes a lot of sense. Don't look at stuff that's obviously going to upset you or make you feel like a certain way. But at the same time, social media is just such like a massive thing that you can't control everything that you see on there.
Exactly, because like, I might follow you, and you're retweeting things that will trigger me, and you get me. So I've had that now. Yeah. Exactly. So I've had that now where I've had to unfollow bare people because the stuff they're retweeting onto my timeline, some of it's intentional, some of it's unintentional, but it's kind of, I feel like it's provoking. It's like, it's annoying. Like I'll see this stuff and I'll just be like, yo, I'm pissed off. And like I said, like I'll write out a whole tweet, get so fucking caught up in this moment where I've only come onto Twitter to bust joke. But like I'm an opinionated person in it. So like when these things occur and I want to get my say across, but then I just think, you know what the fuck is the point? Because these men that are saying it, like they're pricks. Like that's the first thing. They don't give a fuck in it. They don't give a fuck about like who they're triggering. A lot of the things that I get angry at are pages that like say just completely wild shit. Yeah. Like sometimes I just want to fucking like rinse them, yeah, and whatever. But then I think, yo, it's clickbait stuff. They're getting attention from this. So whether if I respond to it, and this is why I always have this say, like, no one is the responsibility lies with everyone. Like with racism, I feel like people just sit out and say, "Oh, I'm not racist or nothing," yeah. But then it's not enough. I don't think it's enough now to be just you say you're not racist and stuff. Yeah, you have to openly condemn racists. Otherwise, the problem doesn't die.
Yeah, you have to be like proactive.
Yeah, so I think it's the same thing with stuff like this, like negativity on the social media platforms. And this ties into what we're going to talk about now, like cancel culture, yeah? Because cancel culture is alive and kicking on Twitter, yeah? And look, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, yeah? Until you start cussing groups of people in like intentionally cussing. You know what I mean? Like I'll go on Twitter, I can't lie, and I'll cuss people, but it's lighthearted. Like I'm not going on there to really fucking go for the jugular every time on people that I don't know. It's not like that. If you go through my tweets now and you find something like that, follow me. But more time, it's not like that. I know what Twitter is, but there's a lot of people that go on there to openly condemn groups of people, you get me? And that's when you start crossing lines. And like cancel culture has many flaws, yeah, but it's something that exists now, you get me? So like I don't know, what's your opinions on cancel culture? Because I think we've touched on this briefly before, but like I feel like if you're not politically correct in every manner, you say one thing that someone doesn't agree with, like all of a sudden you could have like hundreds of thousands of people on like their foot on your neck in it saying, yo, apologize, whatever. Yeah. And like 90% of the time they probably should apologize, but then it doesn't stop there. You get me? Like it doesn't stop there. So you might educate someone on why something might not be like appropriate to say, okay, I've apologized, whatever. But then it doesn't stop there. Like because people are so angry outside of Twitter, when they come onto it, it will just get projected. You get me? So
yeah,
this thing will never stop. It's like a never-ending cycle.
Yeah, it's I think it's a really interesting. I mean, I don't think we should call it cancel culture, but I think taking the positives of it is a good thing. For example, if I was an influencer, I'm off in Dubai. Picture this. I'm off in Dubai. I'm chilling. I'm on Instagram, like, what's good? And I say something that's problematic. And let's say that I didn't know it was problematic. And all these people are kind of calling me out and saying, right, you said this, it's pretty problematic. Here's the reason why. You should probably not say this again and say sorry. I'd be really grateful as a person that people are willing to educate me on that kind of thing. So I think, in a sense, cancel culture is such a nasty like set of words, but I think kind of not being afraid to say to people, like what you said there is a bit problematic, or what you said there probably isn't the best thing, and this is why. I think that's a good thing. Like, we need to constantly be educating ourselves, but at the same time, it's like people are just being, you know what people are like that they'll just take it kind of that one step. And plus, I think cancel culture isn't really much of a thing anyway, because they'll get like a massive spew of abuse, and then like after a while it's all forgotten. So many actors are being called out for like different things, and we're still tuning into that. And you know what, the things that I watch, the things that I listen to, probably have some really nasty people behind them. I'm not purposely doing it to be a middle finger at the victims of these people, but these cancel culture is still a really problematic thing, because after a while these things are just forgotten. So it's kind of like, right, I mean, in some extreme levels they're not, and people are called out and put in jail or whatever, and fair enough, they're horrible people, but I think a lot of the time we see these kind of cancel culture things, and I guarantee they've done something vile. I promise you, in 5 years it will be a distant thing, and they'll still be in films, or they'll still be making albums, or they'll still be an influencer.
It's the money. It could be a money thing as well. Like, it's just because they got racks in it just don't matter. Absolutely. But I think it's one of those things where it's deeply flawed, but at the root of it is kind of, I get it. Like, we should be holding people accountable, but we should be holding ourselves accountable big time. Like I say, if I was famous, I think I'd want people to say, whoa, what you said there isn't. Why are you saying that? And and you got to take that, like, because the people don't have the overall say in who you are and whatever. Like, people just feel they need to have their say, and that's fine. And like, we're having our say right now and multiple opinions. It's fair to say that, but it's just the respect in which it's said. Like, I don't think it's said with a lot of intent to educate people. So like, I think, look.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's not a lot of the time it's not set. That's a really good way of putting it. It's not a lot of the time it's not set. It's not said to educate or inform. It's not the witch hunt of it.
Exactly. And you know what? Sometimes I've been one of those people. Like, I don't know if I've brought this up before, but if you've watched Louis Theroux's fucking documentary where he goes to Westboro Baptist Church.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, one of the people did a TED talk, and one of the girls that escaped, and I don't know, I think she's like one of the main daughters, and she's speaking. Yeah, she's speaking, and she's like, and it's actually outstanding. Like, if I can find the clip, I'll link it. She's talking about how this guy on Twitter, basically just spoke to her. Like, obviously they're getting hate every day. They know what that looks like. They get physical things thrown at them, people in their face protesting against them. Like, they've seen that. But there was this one guy that like really took his time and like tried to educate her and was like trying to chat to her and whatever. And like, because he gave her that respect and like he tried to educate her to such an extent, like she managed to escape her situation, and now she's like, she recognizes why what she was doing was wrong and stuff. Like, some of this stuff's ingrained in people. The emotional aspect of it is like, people are angry, people are upset, and people are emotional in it. So when we're going onto Twitter, you're seeing these things that are provoking you, because you got the platform to just say whatever, you feel like you should say whatever and you want to say whatever, but it's not always the best thing to do. So the reason I wanted to speak about this is because we need to try and cut negativity out, and it's so easy saying this, I understand, but you have to be careful with the people you follow. you know, what are they really trying to, what thoughts are they really trying to provoke for yourself? So yeah, we can get caught up in this, man. We can. I used to get caught up in it. I had to unfollow Bear, man, because they just piss me off. Bear, even the things they tweet themselves just piss me off. Like, yo, are you trying to get a reaction? Are you trying to be a dickhead? Like, because that can't run, and I don't want to openly come out and fucking just start murking you, yeah, because I don't want to be that guy. But at the same time, someone is going to do that, and then when you're pissed off about what they've said, like, I don't know, man, it's a vicious cycle. I think there needs to be some sort of restrictions in place in terms of like what you can and can't say. I mean, it seems like you're kind of taking the power away from Twitter in terms of like it's supposed to be a place where you as a person can say whatever, but then there does need to be restrictions. You shouldn't be allowed to openly just say "go die" to a footballer or fucking celeb or, you know, any racial slurs of any sort. But for some reason, it's allowed, and there needs to be. Go on.
Sorry, no, go on. Carry on.
No, I was going to say like the ID thing that's been an idea, like people presenting ID to create accounts. Now, I actually don't think that's the worst idea. I really don't. You will probably reduce the amount of new accounts that get made, but then the refined like user the refined users you have from doing that, the content will then change. You know what I mean? Like, people will understand then you can't just say whatever because, yo, so they find out who I am, it's fucked for me, innit? And, you know, if that's what it needs, if that's what it needs, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get me? So
it's one of the I was watching This Morning the other day in my furloughed state. And Katie Price was on, and they were talking about abuse online. And obviously, she gets a lot of it, but her son particularly gets a lot of it because he's disabled. And they were talking about a family who went on Britain's Got Talent, and like one of the people on Britain's Got, the family went on Britain. I don't know the story, but the family went on Britain's Got Talent, sung a song, and their son was disabled. And loads of people were giving him hate, obviously just weirdos just online. They'd like to do that, don't they? And Katie Price was with them as well. And she was saying, yeah, like, obviously I've had a similar thing. And she had a pretty kind of like interesting idea, because she had the exact same kind of thing as you were saying. She was like, there's just absolutely no repercussion at all. Anything that's said, pretty much anything said goes, like, unless it's sort of like a massive, you know, massive deal. And she was saying that they should be logged or reported on some kind of register. like if you said something quite abusive or grossly offensive, you should be logged on to some kind of register, and employees maybe could see it, or some kind of way of kind of tying it, because like all these people, they're just anonymous accounts. They're never they're never an actual, well, sometimes they are, but you know, a lot of the time they're just
90% of the time it's some fucking false account with some anime picture, fucking footballer that's just not related to what they're talking about. It's just horseshit. They shouldn't be allowed. They shouldn't be allowed. But to be fair, I'm not like, there's a lot of people that have suggested this. Like, there's so many people before me that have suggested this. Like, I don't want to say it's my idea or something. And, you know, to have the ID thing is just so you've got security and who's saying what in it. And then that should be a thing, maybe. Like, Ian Wright recently, he got racial abuse on, I think, Instagram. He got DMs and he shared them, and the boy got charged in it. He got arrested, but he didn't get nothing. The charges got dropped against him, and like, Ian Wright was fuming because he was like, "Yo, it's just injustice again in it." So he's like, you know, they're just sick of this. You get me? They're just sick of, you know, people getting away with being able to say whatever they want. And look, free speech is a fucking beautiful thing, yeah, but there needs to be some restriction on what you should be able to say, and, you know, I don't know. It's there has to be some change on socials. It has to be. There has to be. Otherwise, we're just going to go into a place where, like, look at is it Caroline Flack? Was she getting Twitter like
Oh,
she was
yeah.
getting a
She used
lot
to
of
get a lot of
online
stick.
abuse, yeah. Like the
Yeah.
same cancel culture that will go after people for bullying people are doing the same thing. And like when people like commit suicide or whatever, obviously it's something it's tragic, it's a tragic event in it.
Mm.
Like the same people that like are trying to cancel people are causing those things. So like I don't know if you watched the episode of there's an episode of Black Mirror where they've got this voter thing where like you can vote for who dies or something. I don't know, and it's like
Oh my God.
it's a
I
fucking
try not to watch it. I've
it's a
only watched a
fucking
few episodes
crazy
here and there.
episode.
And yeah, I watched the one where it was called Nosedive, and it was like you rate people.
Oh yeah. So it's
And I was like, stop! It's freaking me out. So I try and stay away.
It's fucked, but it should be considered like this. Like the people that have obviously sent abuse to certain people. She ain't the first. She ain't the first person. And I don't want to just like make it seem like any less of a tragic thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a list of people that have received online abuse and done that. So there was an episode where on Twitter they were hashtagging who should die next in it, and like you have thousands and thousands of people vote for this thing, and like what seems so minor to you, just like a few clicks of a button, and like you're just saying oh, you should go, whatever, you should go die, you should fuck off, whatever. Like all these people are semi-responsible. You get me? Like they should be held accountable for these things. And it's a fucked up episode, and it's so fucked. But like,
Black Mirror is so dark.
It's so dark.
When people tell me the premise, and I'm just like,
every episode's different, yeah. But don't you think like any episode I watch, I really feel like it highlights so many societal issues, and I'm just like, yo,
that's
people say they don't like this. Yeah, people say they don't like this, but it's because they don't like the truth. You get me?
No,
they don't like the truth.
It's too true. I mean, the ones I've watched a few, I haven't watched all of them, but when I have watched them, I've been like, oh my God, I've just had a dose of the truth and I've not enjoyed it.
Exactly, and this is what I'm saying. So
hide me away.
Yeah. So look, I say to finalize this, I'd say there needs to be something in place to stop people, like whether that's you restrict the things that can and can't be said, or whether that's you bring identification, so people are held accountable. You get me? And then we're going to cut out madness being said on these platforms. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I can say to wrap up Twitter. Look, I love Twitter. You get me? I've seen the funniest fucking shit on Twitter, the craziest shit. You get me? And I know I'm going to hell for laughing at some memes that I've just seen that are just hilarious. But there needs to be some sort of restrictions on what can and can't be said. Definitely agree with that. But yeah, now we move on to the greatest segment, Planet Earth. You know what it is. The people listening at home know what it is. But for every newcomer that doesn't know what it is, it's Yeet Mountain. And when I say Yeet, I mean Yeet. Listen, we're back again, yeah. And the rules of the segment are as follows, yeah. Me and Em are both going to get 30 seconds to decide who we both believe should get yeeted. You are going to get to vote as people listening. So on Insta, I'll probably do a poll. And on YouTube, if you click, I don't know which way this is going to be presented. I think here, I think it's this side. We're going to do a poll. You, man, get to vote, and then we'll reveal it on next week's show or whenever we do the next podcast. I don't want to put time on that. But yeah, we're going to get 30 seconds each. We're going to decide whether this person deserves to get dashed off the Yeet Mountain. And if you want to know who else has been dashed off, you have to go listen to the other 16 podcasts. So, I'll start with you today because you had a last minute change. Your 90th minute equaliser, and you've
also I've changed it in the podcast as well. So
you've changed it again.
I have, yeah.
Okay then.
I'm feeling it's not Black Mirror.
The thing is, Em didn't have one just before we started recording, and somehow when you think of one, you start thinking of fucking 50 in it people that need to get yeeted.
Like 5.
Yeah, come then. So Em's gonna get 30 seconds on the clock, starting from now.
Okay, my Yeet Mountain is whoever's idea it was to make a Lord of the Rings TV show. I'm not sure why you thought. I'm not sure why you thought you had the authority. I'm not sure why in any universe you decided to do that and think that that was a good idea. But I guarantee to you, it's not a good idea. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care. I just don't care. All the money you can pump into this, it's just never, ever going to measure up. Ever. You know how much research Peter Jackson did? I'm not even.
Time.
I could have gone on forever, Fab.
Honestly, we need. Do you know what? We could have a rolling thing where we're just doing one of those each week. Why have you remade this? Why have you remade this? It literally could be that deep. If you want to set the timer for me.
Yeah. Get yourself prepared then. Because
I'm ready. You know I'm the ventiest person on the planet, fam.
But in all seriousness, how stupid is that? Sorry,
it's fucking outrageous. When it's shit, yeah. When it's shit, yeah, we'll come back to it on the podcast and we'll do a fucking segment on it.
Oh, I've done 30 minutes instead of 30 seconds.
If you want to give me 30 minutes, I've got 30 minutes to chat about it.
Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1,
I'm ready.
Go.
So, my Yeet Mountain this week is Forex traders, fam. Listen, yeah, you fucking little fraudsters, yeah. Listen. What the fuck are you doing? Don't follow me if you're going to chat about Forex, and don't DM me if you're going to chat about Forex, okay? Because you, man, put me off investing. You, man, actually made me intimidated by this thing, and you're fucking pricks, yeah? So, yo, fuck yourselves. You're a Forex trader. Don't chat to me. Don't chat to me. That's all I can say. I ran out of time for the first time. I didn't know what to say, but fuck them. That's all I can say. You're a Forex man. I can't go on because the 30 seconds are done. I don't want to break the rules. Look, we're going to put the vote in. After all of the things that I've just said about cancelling, man, and all of that, yeah, we do Yeet Mountain. It's so fucking hypocritical, isn't it? Yeet Mountain is, look, to summarise Yeet Mountain, it's a light-hearted thing. It's personal pet peeves. So anything that we really say, it doesn't matter whoever the fuck we eat, because they're going to live and they're going to do their thing. And it really doesn't matter what two fucking people on the internet. In this conversation, anyway, if we have a fucking mountain of thousands of people saying stuff behind us, we have no power. So yeah, take it with a pinch of salt. It's just personal feelings, what we don't like. Just relax. So yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Late Night Podcast. This has been hell of a comeback. We're happy to be on the YouTube, myself and Em. I'd say if you like the vid, and if you like it on SoundCloud as well, that would be greatly appreciated. If you didn't, at least dislike it. Listen, if you don't like it, at least tell me you don't like it, fam. You get me? Do the courtesy of that at the very least. At the very least. If we have more dislikes than likes, I'll still be happy that you reacted. Just give me something. Give me something. So yeah, I want to say thank you. I'm very happy to be on the YouTube thing. I'd say me and Em are going to probably come with content like this for a bit. When things go back to normal, hopefully we don't fuck it up this time, and we can get some consistent content out if Boris doesn't fuck things up. But yeah, man, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. God bless and take care.